In this session, we'll look at the new Windows 10 styles for both Vcl and Firemonkey. RAD Studio 10 Seattle adds, as part of its incredible Windows 10 support, the new Windows 10 styles. With these new Windows 10 styles, along with the new Windows 10 VCL controls and the Universal Windows Platform WinRT services and components, your apps now adapt to the new look and feel that Microsoft is pushing with their platform that matches the Windows 10 user experience. So we're going to look at both the Vcl Windows and the Firemonkey Windows 10 styles. We're going to look at the Vcl Styles for common dialogues, and we'll also look at the enhancements for both the Firemonkey Style Designer and the Bitmap Style Designer. Let's look at the new Vcl Windows 10 UI styles. So from Project Options, Application Appearance, here we see the 43 Vcl Windows styles that are included in RAD Studio 10 Seattle, including the 3 new Windows 10 Modern UI styles. So we have Windows 10 Modern Dark, Windows 10 Modern Blue, and Windows 10 Modern Light, including a new Onyx Blue style that's also included in RAD Studio 10 Seattle. And these styles work great with the new Vcl Windows 10 UI controls, as well as your existing Vcl UI controls. So here I'm running the Marine Adventures Order Entry app, and I have the default style set to Windows 10 Lite. So let's run the app. And we see it comes up and it displays with the Windows 10 Lite as our default Vcl Windows 10 UI style. Using the Styles pop-up menu, I'm going to change the Vcl style to the new Windows 10 Blue. Main menu gets the nice Windows 10 Blue style. Now if I open up forms like the Browse form and the Parts form, we see that both of these forms now get the new Windows 10 Blue Modern UI VCL style. If I close the forms and I use the Styles pop-up menu again, this time let me change it to the new Windows 10 Dark style. So menus in dark, Browse form in dark, and the Parts forms in dark. And I can do this for any of the other styles. So even while the forms are open, I can switch it to the new Onyx Blue style, and we'll see everything changes to the nice Onyx Blue style. So that really works great. Next, let's look at the new Firemonkey Windows 10 styles. So to your existing or a new Firemonkey multi-device app, you can drop one stylebook component onto the form, and then you can add one of the new Firemonkey Windows 10 styles. You double-click the stylebook component, and then you click the load button, and then you can select one of the new Firemonkey Windows 10 styles. You can choose either Windows 10 Modern Blue, Windows 10 Modern Dark, or Windows 10 Modern Light. So I'm going to select Windows 10 Modern Blue and apply and close. Now this is a new feature in RAD Studio 10 Seattle. So from the designer, from the style drop-down box, you can now see what the style looks like on Windows. So here we see the Firemonkey Windows 10 Modern Blue style that's going to be applied to our Windows platform. And we can also see what the styles will look like on the other platforms that you applied. So for example, on iOS, on Mac OS X, and on Android, on all 3 of those platforms, I added the premium Firemonkey Emerald Crystal style. And for the other platforms, it works the same way. So double-click on your stylebook component, select your platform. In this case, I'm going to select Android, click the load button, and here is where I applied the Android Emerald Crystal style. Say OK, and click Apply and Close. And you can do the same for Mac OS X and for iOS. Lastly, in the structure pane, we see one of the enhancements to the Firemonkey Style Designer. That now we only need one stylebook component, and we have a collection of styles for each platform. We're going to learn more about this new feature when we look at the enhancements to the Firemonkey Style Designer later in this session. Next, let's look at Vcl Styles for common dialogues. In RAD Studio 10 Seattle, you can now customize your Windows UI using Vcl Styles with support for common dialogue styling. So Vcl Styles has been extended to support common dialogues. And this gives you a very cohesive color scheme across all of the dialogues in your app. This VCL app shows the new VCL styles for common dialogues. On this app, we added the 10 common dialogue components for color, font, find, search, open, open picture, open text file, print, page setup, and printer setup. The app also has a styles combo box that lets you select at runtime what VCL style to apply to the application. On the app's form create event, we load all of the available VCL styles into the combo box. At runtime, when the user selects one of the VCL styles from the combo box, we call tStyleManager set style, and we load the selected VCL style. Let's run the app. And we see that the default style is set to Windows 10 Lite. Let's look at the VCL styles for these common dialogues. So if I click on T-Color dialog, we can define new colors, select a new color, and add it to our custom styles and say OK. So that works fine. If I click on T-Font dialog, we can change fonts and font styles and sizes and do special effects. That all works fine also. And all the other dialogues will have the same Windows 10 Lite style like we just saw. Let's change the style to Windows 10 Blue. So now we see the main menu is in Windows 10 Blue. If I use the T Open dialog, we now see that its dialog also has the Windows 10 Blue style, so that's cool. And if I select any file and say right-click to delete, then we also see that even the delete confirmation dialog gets the same style. So that's also very cool. Next, let's look at the enhancements to the Firemonkey Style Designer. The Firemonkey Style Designer is integrated into the IDE. So one of the enhancements is with the stylebook component. So the stylebook component now supports a collection of styles for various platforms. So for example, for the one stylebook component, I can have individual styles for, let's say, Windows 10 desktop, Mac OS 10 Yosemite, Mac OS 10 Lion, iOS. I can have a specific style for my Windows 8 desktop, for Windows 7 desktop, Android, or Android Lite. And I could add additional platforms and styles as needed. And it's as easy as double-clicking on the stylebook component and adding additional platforms and loading the style for that platform. Another enhancement is you have easier styling for individual controls. So if you have a specific component like a button that you want to change the color or apply a different background graphical pattern, this is now easy to do. And you can customize the included platform styles using your own bitmaps, custom fonts, and color schemes using the integrated Firemonkey Style Designer. So for example, to my button on the Windows platform, I was able to easily add a multi-resolution bitmap image and align it to the left of the button, and also easily add this nice blue custom background graphic. And on the Mac OS 10 platform, I'm also able to easily do the same, but in this case, I chose to align the image to the right of the button. And it's easy to do this just by selecting your control, right-clicking, and saying Edit Custom Style. This brings up the Firemonkey Style Designer. And here is where you can make your customizations to the colors, the design patterns, etc. And you end up with a new customized style button component. To add the image to the button, first I selected the button, and then from the Button 1 Style T Layout from the tool palette, I dropped a T image component onto the button, and then for the T image component, I aligned it to the left. I made some changes to the margins, and then for the actual image itself, we used the T image multi-res bitmap property, and we load in the image that we wanted to use. It's that simple. And to change the graphics for the background of the button, first in the structure pane, we select background. And in the object inspector, there's a property called normal link. When we select it, it brings up the Bitmaps link editor. So here is where you can change the graphics for the different states. So for example, normal link, or when you control focus using focus link, or when you mouse over a control, like hot link, and you also have press link. Then you would click on the image plus to add your new graphics. I'm using this graphic called blue button. And then you can change and use your custom graphics. You would position the grid lines for the new graphics and apply it to your control, in this case my button. So now our custom one button has our new background graphics with this nice image, and you can see it at design time. So that's great. Let's quickly look at another sample app that shows how the new Firemonkey Style Designer and the Firemonkey Styles work with older RAD Studio projects. So this is the sample custom Listbox app that ships with RAD Studio. So this app shows how to create custom Listbox items using the style editor, as well as how to use styles data to set or get values from an item and set event handlers. It has a style book called Resources 1. So this style book only has one item, the default item. So the default item gets loaded on each platform. So this is an older legacy project, and we don't need to make any changes to it. So in the design view, if we double click on the style book, it brings up the same Firemonkey Style Designer. So this is the new RAD Studio 10 Seattle Firemonkey Style Designer. So for this app, the custom controls, they're not using any platform-specific custom graphics or items, so we can only use this one style for all of the platforms. If I cancel out of the Firemonkey Designer, so in the Designer, for each of the styles, for Windows, for Mac OS X, for iOS, and for Android, you can verify and make any changes if they're needed on each style, just like we see here for Android. So the goal in RAD Studio 10 Seattle was that you should be able to open up any legacy Firemonkey project, and you don't need to make any changes, and everything is just going to work fine. And one more quick example to show the Firemonkey Style Designer enhancements for the mobile platforms, iOS and for Android. Plus, they also work the same for the Windows platform and for the Mac OS X platform. So from the master view, you can now have styles for each platform. So if your form does not have a style book component on it, you would drop a style book component onto the form. And then on the form, you need to set the style book property to the style book that you just added onto the form. These new Firemonkey Style Designer enhancements are very useful when you want to add the Firemonkey Premium Styles Pack for RAD Studio 10 Seattle. So let me double click on the style book property, and I want to add a new premium style for the Android platform. Click load. And for Android, I'm going to select the premium Android Emerald Crystal style. Say open and apply and close. And when we change the view to a specific device, like an Android 7-inch tablet, we see the style applied to the device. So that's also really cool. So our style book now contains the 4 styles for Windows, Mac OS X, iOS, and Android. And at design time, you can change the style and see what the form's going to look like. So you can see what it will look like on Windows, what it would look like on Mac OS X, what it's going to look on iOS, and what it's going to look like on Android. And you don't need to do any style book selection at runtime to choose the correct style for the platform. With RAD Studio 10 Seattle, we now automatically choose the correct style for the different platforms, and that's really great. The last item we want to look at is the enhancements to the Bitmap Style Designer. And you can access the Bitmap Style Designer from Tools, Bitmap Style Designer. So the first thing we see here is that we've added many new templates and the ability to create blank styles for different platforms. There's a style viewer for viewing a Windows 10 styles, also built into this Bitmap Style Designer. So you have new templates for both Windows 10 and Windows, Vcl Styles, new templates for Metropolis styles, iOS styles, and Android styles, and Mac OS X also. With this Bitmap Style Designer, you can create, edit, and test both Firemonkey and Vcl styles, and you can also convert an existing Vcl style into a Firemonkey style just by saving the Vcl style as a Firemonkey style. Let's quickly look at converting a Vcl style to a Firemonkey style. So if I open up an existing Vcl style like Vapor, then I can preview it first using the Vcl style viewer, so it looks great. And then all I have to do is say File, Save As, and the type, I just save it as a Firemonkey style, give it a new name. So I'm going to call it my Vapor Firemonkey style, and it gets saved off the disk as a .style file, and the original Vcl style file, the .vsf file, it remains as is. So for example, if we wanted to create a new Windows 10 dark modern style, I would select its template, and then from images we see all the bitmaps that you can use for defining your new style. If I click on fonts in the objects tree, we see a list of all the available fonts that are used for the various parts and states of controls. So for example, if I wanted to change the font of a radio button text pressed, I select it and go change color, and I can change to a different color. If I click on objects in the object tree, we see a list of controls that could be styled. So each control has a set of parts and states that can be set. So for example, if I look at checkbox, it has unchecked, checked, and mixed states, and you can choose the desired look for each of these states. If we click on colors in the object tree, here we see a list of base colors that are used in the current style. And lastly, sys colors. This gives us a list of system colors equivalents that are used in the current style. So system colors offers you a way to obtain colors similar to the style colors for the system color constants. So after you've made all your custom changes, you can use style test Vcl style to see a sample of your style for all of your different controls. So that's cool. This ends this session on Windows 10 styles for both Vcl and Firemonkey. So here's some DocWiki resources on how to add Vcl and Firemonkey styles to your applications, and how to use both the Bitmap Style Designer and the Firemonkey Style Designer.
Okay, and Al and Jim. Al, there was a question here about automatically selecting different styles for different versions of Windows. I mean, I know I can see what version of Windows in my own code I'm running on, and then from there load different styles from style files. But
That's it. Because can you hear me, Dave?
yep.
Right, that's a good question, because I know now we have the one style book, and I can create multiple platforms on there. So I did have that one example that said, all right, here's the style for Windows 10, here's the style for Windows 7, here's the Windows style for Windows 8. So and I know so we changed the framework that I no longer needed to use those if-def conditionals to say if this is running on Windows 10, use this style. If it's running on Windows 7, use this style. So that's a good question. Let me check that myself. I've been running all this only on a Windows 10 box. So I'm going to take that as an assignment, and I'll post my results. If I take the same app and I do create a separate Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows 8 styles, and I run them on those individual platforms, let me see if it's smart enough to know to automatically pick up the style to use if it's running on a Windows 10 box, Windows 7 box, Windows 8 box. Otherwise, to check the version of Windows I'm running, we have the TOS version, .check method where I can pass in, value 10 that lets me know if this is running on a Windows 10 box. That question comes up a lot, right? If you want to use like the new Windows 10 notifications, you first want to check to see if the app is running on Windows 10. If it's not, then you say, sorry, this new Windows 10 notification is not going to work. It needs to run on a Windows 10 box.
And there's a few other questions here. Let's see. In Seattle, T-Style Manager, the set system style method is removed. How to reset to the default style? I mean, there's a try set style, but it's always been around. I'm not sure about the set system style method. Maybe it was refactored. I'll have to go look at that one.
Okay.
But I'll leave those as open questions, Al, and we'll do some more research, everyone, as it relates to those questions. As far as older versions of Windows, we're only testing on Windows 7, 8, and 10 now. So we don't make any claims about what might happen on XP or 98 or 95. The only thing I can always suggest is build an app and try it. Watch what you use and don't use. But some of the things like Windows 10 specific functionality, add code to test on the version of Windows, what OS version you're running on. Put if-defs for code that's specific to other versions, but we are not testing on older versions of Windows. So
I heard that they occasionally test on XP just to make sure it doesn't fail dramatically, but it's not a guarantee. It's just would be nice, and that's because Microsoft's end-of-life Windows XP. No one else is using Vista, so that's why we no longer test on those platforms.
Yeah, if you go to the doc wiki, there's a platforms supported links for application development and for the different targets that we support. So when you look at the release notes, installation notes, and platform supported. So let's see, supported target platforms. Let me find that one. Okay, and then the question then becomes which versions of Windows. So each of the target platform areas have lists of what's supported. So take a look at the doc wiki or just search for Delphi supported target platforms. We're trying to keep the doc wiki up to date. The data sheet that's put up is related to when the RTM of the product happens. So that was the system specifications for target and for the ID are related to that specific release in the data sheet. I always use the doc wiki, which is being updated in real time for any new news that might be along there. Okay. And again, as far as platforms, we're testing on the specific platforms. So with that, I'm going to continue.
Yeah, some more quick questions like the style designer. Was it the Bitmap style design? The style the question was, oh, I see. So the Firemonkey style designer, that's included inside the Delphi IDE. I don't think there's an external Firemonkey style designer, but the Bitmap style designer, that has an outside executable bin, and that's considered a redistributable that you can give to customers to create their own bitmap styles.